Hello everyone. Good morning, and all of us in US are watching the elections very closely, but we are going to continue our discussion with Dr. Nisha Khanna. Dr. Nisha will be joining me in 1 second, and we will talk about digestive health, digestive enzymes, the concept of digestion in Ayurveda, and what are the different digestive enzymes that we should take. Hi there.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Well, just wanted to introduce you. Dr. Nisha Khanna is here with us. She's a board certified internist who has been practicing medicine for the last, I would say, 15 plus years, but she is a trained Ayurvedic practitioner, an MD with an Ayurveda. That's the combination we have, a very rare combination, an amazing combination. So we want to talk about the digestion and what are digestive enzymes, and also want to understand the concept of Agni. So I will let you start now.
Okay, and you can hear me okay?
Yes, perfect. It's really
Okay.
good.
Yeah, so pretty much Agni is your safeguard to health, and it's often overlooked. People think about what types of food to eat and when to eat, but the most important thing is safeguarding this Agni, this digestive fire, your sort of enzymes, your metabolism. It's the most foundational step. You've probably heard the saying that you aren't what you eat, but you are what you digest.
Yeah.
And it all has to do with the power of your digestion. So one of the ways to really see if you have good Agni is to see if you have a good appetite. And this is something that for a long time people have been running away from their appetite. They've been suppressing it. There's actually medications that suppress it.
Yeah.
There's people try to fast and suppress the appetite, but the appetite is actually an indicator of how good your Agni is. So if you have a weak appetite, then you're not going to digest your food. And so it's really good to actually stimulate an appetite prior to digestion and maintain that appetite by having meals at regular intervals, because it's a signal your enzymes are being released, so you're going to digest your food appropriately. If you're not hungry, then you're not going to digest your food. So there are ways to kindle an appetite. So there are certain herbs, certain spices. I would say one of the best things is grated fresh ginger, taken as like what we call a ginger pickle. So you take like a half teaspoon of fresh grated ginger, some squeeze of lime, and a pinch of salt, and have that about 10 to 15 minutes before a meal. And this will stimulate your enzymes. So, and then it's the kind of thing that you don't become dependent on it. So if you were to take digestive enzymes as a pill, that's something that then you're going to need to keep taking a pill. But when you can have it in a natural form, such as ginger, then eventually your appetite becomes regulated, and then you don't need the ginger. The same is true for enzymes, but such as, betaine, HCl, or different pancreatic enzyme combinations that you can get at the store. And those are great as well if you say you're on the go and you can't make the ginger pickle. But I usually prefer using the whole food instead of a prescription, like a pill bottle.
I think so. Ginger, you talked about it. So like you can drink it in the morning, like put ginger, or do you recommend having sort of like a same way as you would have a pill, like a digestive enzyme, every time you want to eat, and you have a ginger something 1 hour before to stimulate the Agni, right? So is that how you?
Yeah. So you wouldn't do it a full hour before. I would say maybe about 10 to 20 minutes max. And if you drink ginger water throughout the day, that is a nice clarification tonic, but it doesn't have the same amount of potency as actually just having fresh grated ginger that you chew and swallow. So you could make a very potent ginger tea and have that 15 minutes before a meal, and it would function the same way. But if you're just sipping on the ginger water throughout the day, it's going to help you overall digest your food, but it's not going to have the same kind of punch as having this specific high potent amount and then stimulating your enzymes.
Okay, great. So the other thing is that brings us to like how do we know we have a weak Agni? In the sense, is there a diagnostic test we can do, or we just measure like we haven't, we don't feel like eating? In your, do you do any diagnostic tests for your patients when they come in?
Yeah, there's such a variety. So there's lots of things that you can just do at home. So you're digesting well if you feel like light after eating and you don't get bloated, you don't get gassy.
Yeah.
That's one of the prime indicators of good digestion. So looking for fatigue after eating and then any kind of gastrointestinal discomfort symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's all looking good, then you're probably digesting well. If you're having good bowel movements, 1 to 2, 1 to 3 daily that are well formed, looking at the end product of digestion as well. On my Instagram page, there's like a quick home Agni test that you can do.
Yeah.
You may have seen that where you have some baking soda in the morning, right prior to eating, so on an empty stomach. And then if you start burping after ingesting that, it means you've got a good Agni because of the chemical reaction that occurs with the baking soda and the HCl, the stomach acid. So that's like a home test that you can do that feels more quantitative.
Yeah.
And then within functional medicine, there's actual HCl monitoring that you can do, over say a 20 to 30 minute period to see what your baseline HCl is and then how it peaks. So you can get really specific and quantitative, or you can really just look at how you feel and how things are moving for you in terms of bowel movements, appetite, and then feeling energetic after eating and not having any gastrointestinal symptoms.
Okay. There was a comment and a question, I think. Someone said that the ginger for Pitta people might be a little bit too hard. So how do you manage that for the Pitta person?
Yeah. So there's some debate. There's different schools of thought within Ayurveda. So some people think that the fresh ginger is more heating, and other people think the dried ginger. So I would say that you need to play around with it and try which one kind of you feel better with, whether it's fresh grated ginger or dry ginger powder. And so I would say, so for a Pitta predominant person in the summertime, having a really potent ginger may be too much. And they can use cumin, coriander, and fennel as a kind of equal proportion of spices to accomplish a similar effect. It's not going to be quite as potent as the ginger, but having that around meal times, after meal times, is going to be stimulating. And for those people, actually using a pill may be the best option.
Okay. So there's another comment. She's saying she was diagnosed with JRA when she was 14. It's been hard. This is not a medical advice. I just want to comment on that. This is just a small bite-sized educational session. But, if you have some issues, you're welcome to email us, care@nourishtalk.com, and we'll direct you to Dr. Nisha. No issue. I just wanted to comment on that. Someone commented over there. Okay, so we talked about the diagnostic test. We talked about the Agni. So let's talk about on the key elements of gut cleansing, in your opinion.
So for gut cleansing, you need to have a foundation of daily gut cleansing. So I think that's something that's often overlooked is people aren't having good, well-formed bowel movements. There's a lot of constipation, and how I'm defining constipation is having less than 1 to 2 good bowel movements per day, where it feels like you completely evacuate the colon. So that's the foundation. You can't really do a cleanse unless you are having this daily foundation in place, because then as you do a cleanse, you're actually going to accumulate more toxins as they're being released from the deeper tissues, and you'll feel very ill and actually probably not do well with the cleanse and have to stop it early. So there's many layers of cleansing. So you have your daily detox, which needs to be in place. Then we in my personal practice with patients, I find that there's often leaky gut and an overgrowth of organisms that shouldn't be in the gut. And this is due to antibiotic use, eating habits,
Yeah.
Different toxic chemicals that we pick up through the environment. So I've found that it's actually very helpful from a detox perspective so that people get more out of a cleanse and cleanse better so that they have less distress during the cleanse. If they do what I call a gut reset guide, it's a gut cleanse that I have created online for patients that they can access through my website. And then if they're in my practice, I guide them through this. So this first step helps to start getting rid of the overgrown organisms, start taking key inflammatory foods out of the diet that just propagate illness. And patients feel so much better as they start to lower inflammation through this practice. And then once they've done that, they're really building a foundation for cleansing. And I would say 90% of symptoms get better with just those things. So the foundation plus the gut reset to heal leaky gut. However, if people want to go further and do kind of more rejuvenative practices and really sort of move the needle on anti-aging, then I'll also offer them more of an Ayurvedic cleanse, which is like a home panchakarma. So
you can do home panchakarma, like all of us can do home panchakarma, because I thought panchakarma you have to go in a clinic and get all those purgation therapies.
Well, there are home versions of it. So the mildest home panchakarma is to have a mono diet of, say, khichdi for a few days, as many as you can do. That just eases the digestion. But then you layer more and more things onto it. So you can add in nasya and abhyanga. And then if you feel comfortable and maybe are under the guidance of a practitioner, or you have minimal health problems, you could even add in the Virachana portion of the panchakarma. And so I have a separate cleanse online that helps to guide patients through that in a self-paced way. I'm actually going to be doing that myself in the next few weeks to just reset for the fall, change of seasons, before Thanksgiving, before Christmas, New Year's, all of those things to really kind of, it's a good time to cleanse. So yeah, there's home versions of this where you can add in the various panchakarma therapies that are so nourishing for the nervous system, healing for the gut, but you don't actually have to leave your house and go travel somewhere and, check into a facility. And, that is the kind of gold standard prime way to cleanse, is to check out of life and to go have someone just take care of you, make all your meals and really nourish you. But not everybody can do that. And so it's really great to have a home version for those years or those seasons where you can't just take off. And especially during COVID, people aren't traveling as much. So then that would be the ultimate cleanse, So I build patients up through this sort of stepwise approach, so that when they get to the panchakarma version of the cleanse, that they are actually going to detox so well and so optimally because their pathways are open and flowing.
Because you've already made them ready, with the foundation that you were talking about.
Right. And I think that's problematic a lot of times, is people do jump into cleansing. Yeah. And it's very attractive, you hear good things about it. But if you're not ready for it, there's so many people that drop out, or actually maybe even go to the doctor with other conditions because then they get a UTI or they get other symptoms that pop up because their body's not ready to eliminate all those toxins that are stored in the fat.
Sure. There was a comment, someone is asking, why are raw foods so difficult to digest?
Yeah, so, if you think about food, right, it has to be made into a warm soup, right? So you take a salad, your body needs to take that and make it into a soup so that it can go through your intestines easily and have all the nutrients be absorbed. But it's not hard to digest for everyone. So if you have a really strong Agni, it's like having a really strong fire. It can take that raw food and make it into a soup, no problem. But if you have a weak Agni, then your body says, oh, wow, there's a salad. I can barely cook it into a soup. So then you have like mixed soup and salad, and then it's hard because that has to move. And then you get gas and bloating because things are not broken down. So So that's the reason. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. We have another comment on, does cooking destroy nutrients? I love the way people are asking questions. This is meant to be a 10-15 minute session, but it's great. So they're asking, does cooking destroy nutrients?
It doesn't, that's the thing. There's no blanket statement for anything.
Yeah.
So in certain foods, when they're raw, the nutrients are more preserved. But in certain foods, you need to actually gently steam them in order to release the nutrients, So my general practice for food is lightly steaming it. So it's not overcooked and everything just kind of looks blah. But you get to that point where, say, with vegetables or broccoli, for example, that it gets to that extreme peak in color, it gets bright green, or asparagus gets bright green, then you know that it's at its optimal point for absorption.
Okay, great. Well, this is supposed to be a small bite-sized session. We would love to bring Dr. Nisha again. I think it seems like the people have a lot of questions, which is great. Anything else you'd like to add, Dr. Nisha, before we wrap up today?
No, I think we covered what we said we were going to talk about, which is Agni, enzymes, and cleansing. Correct. So yeah, if there are any questions, you can message me through Instagram. I'm not on it a lot, but I am on it most days.
They can message us also, and we can send you, no problem. Yeah, okay, people can reach us. Yeah, absolutely. No issues at all. Okay. So, yeah, absolutely. Don't worry about it. And people who are watching us, you're welcome to give us feedback. We're trying to bring different topics and different bite-sized topics to our Insta Live. And we'll be bringing, Dr. Nisha again for a different topic. She has so much knowledge. So with that, I'd like to wrap up this session. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining. And thank you so much, Dr. Nisha, for making the time to educate all of us on simple gut cleansing and digestive enzymes. Thank you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I love educating because these principles are so basic and they can help so many people. And it lays a foundation of health, and it helps you to reverse disease too. So, we all need it.
Absolutely. Thank you. And all right. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.